Okay. Uh, I was talking about bebop articulation with some students, and it's kind of tricky to get them to get a hold of it or how to describe it. But I hit on something that worked, and this may or may not work for you, whatever. It worked for me, so I figured let me put it up here. It was something different I tried that kind of hit. I like to use metaphors and analogies. That kind of thing works for me. And also, I try to stay away from telling somebody what not to do. Like, don't play too many notes. Don't play this. You play too many notes. Don't play too many notes, as opposed to saying play less notes or play with more space. So if you can teach someone by saying, giving them a directive of what to do, I find that to be more successful than telling them, don't do this, don't do that, and then they're playing with all these rules, and it just kind of clogs them up. So we were trying to come up with this way, or I was trying to come up with this way of having them be aware of how to bebop, use bebop articulation. And I'm talking about people who really would have a line that bubbles, like something that would sound more like that that kind of thing. That's what we're talking about. So I'm playing them examples of Sonny Rollins from this whole Prestige collection that I have, where he just articulates all over the place, everywhere. James Moody, Johnny Griffin, Kenny Dorham, Dizzy, Lee Morgan. So there are certain people that would really bop. Now, what's happening in a lot of cases, music gets pretty loud now. A lot of times when you listen to these recordings with great bop players who articulate that way, they're not playing in loud situations. So that's something I realized can affect articulation, volume. Because if you're going to play something really loud, then everything seems to flatten out. So you'll play like this. It's just even and it just comes at you. So I went all over and over different ways of trying to explain it, and it didn't hit. And then something made me go to this analogy. So hang with me here. I was telling them about bebop. You hear the attack, and the trick with bebop is you hear the attack, and that's what impacts you. So you tend to think, or at least I did, attack a lot. And that's not it. It's what makes the attacks great and what makes them stick out is that the other stuff is so soft, or it's softer. I only heard the attacks, right? So then when playing bebop, I realized that if you don't play so loud, you can grab more attacks, and you have a better chance of having your line bubble, like that little bebop bubbling articulation, bubbling. And that kind of made it make sense. So if we play this, and it's really loud, and I just play full out, the articulation just comes out pretty flat. Right? So it's kind of right there. So the notes are okay, but nothing's happening. So if I back up and I look at sort of like home base as quiet, in other words, I just played loud. I just played everything loud. Nothing. But if I go back and I play soft, then what happens is it's easier for me to just instinctively attack, and what I attack are usually, maybe 90% of the time, the top notes in the line. Boo bop, boo bop, ba doo ba doo ba ba boo bop bop. The higher notes in the line are easier to attack if I play it softer, because now my softs are starting to disconnect from the louds. I could make a difference. Where before I was playing loud, the soft part of my playing was pushed right up against the loud. Everything was the same. So now I'm going to play the same thing, just a little softer, and without even trying to articulate, you'll hear it start to bubble a little more. So I'm just going to back up. I'm going to be softer. So all of a sudden it bubbles. All I did was play softer, and I let the attack kind of just happen. So what I do then is I park myself at a softer volume when trying to get this type of articulation. And then I thought about, now here you go, Muhammad Ali and rope-a-dope. So if you don't know who Muhammad Ali is, the boxer, I'm just going to leave it at that. He was great. I loved him. He was my hero. But go to YouTube and type in rope-a-dope. So this worked. That's why I wanted to put this up, because this analogy worked for me. So we went to YouTube and we pulled up rope-a-dope, and you see Muhammad Ali just sitting on the ropes like this while George Foreman is pounding on him, and he just stays here. This is soft. And then Muhammad Ali would boom, 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 and then come right back. Boom, 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 come right back. So this would be an attack, and this is where you park yourself. So if you think, just type in rope-a-dope, you'll see this match where Ali just lets Foreman wear himself out. So if you think rope-a-dope, now I'm going to park myself on the ropes like that. I'm just going to stay there. And when I want an attack to happen, I could goose it just a little more. And so I'm parked soft. I'm against the ropes. And every attack, I'm just going to goose it a little more, like it would be a jab, but immediately come back here. So, I mean, it sounds like it's a lot of thinking, but all you have to think about is play softer. And when you have a chance to attack, just give it a little more. And then it comes out like this. So now I'm starting to bubble. So I'm not really thinking attack. I'm thinking soft. And when I can attack, just jump out, attack, and then come right back. So park yourself in a softer volume, and the differences between what you play and your attack will be greater, and the attacks will seem louder, but they're not louder. They're really just, if this is your attack and it's loud and this is your soft part, if you jack your soft way down, the difference will make your attack sound like it's really popping out, like you're rope-a-doping BeBop articulation. Whew. It sounds weird, but when I explained this to the student, he got it, and he started to do it. So when you listen to Johnny Griffin or anybody, and you hear when you hear that kind of thing, you hear the attacks, and that's what you say, oh, attacks. But really, the reason you hear it is that the soft allows the attack to bounce up that much further. So if you think this rope-a-dope thing where park yourself soft and put your attacks out a little more, it helps. Just by playing softer, forget even making the attacks, just by playing softer, your line, a BeBop line will articulate better, because the top note in the line will almost always sound like you're attacking more. But it's playing loud all the time that flattens out your articulation, and it's hard to do that. So it's tricky to play BeBop or to articulate like that when things are really loud. And sometimes things get loud now. Music is, you could play in a situation where it's so loud, it's kind of hard to do that. We had James Moody as a guest at Rowan University, and he was playing in front of the big band, and I was in front of him, and I would cue him when he would come in. And no matter how loud the band was, Moody was just playing at his almost like conversation level volume. The band could be behind him like ba 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 and all that, and Moody's just ba. So no matter how loud anything became around him, he didn't sacrifice his technique for the volume. He just played right. And I remember I talked to him afterwards. I said, Moody, that was great, man. You taught me a lesson that you didn't get loud. You were playing flute, band was backing you up, and you were just bopping. And you can't bop it unless you park it soft enough where you can hear the attacks. So anyway, with that in mind, check out people like Kenny Dorham, Dizzy, Sonny Rollins, Johnny Griffin. Everybody from that bop era sort of has it, but there were some people that really, really, really used it a lot. Sonny Stitt. When you hear the attack, try to pay attention to the other part. The attack just comes right at you. You can't help but hear the attack. But pay attention to the soft stuff, because that's what makes the attack audible. That's what really brings it up. That's really the frame around an attack, the softer stuff. So park yourself here, get against the ropes, attack the note, and they come right back. Just park yourself in being softer. and either let the attacks happen or give them a little push. But always come back, and you'll find yourself being able to articulate better. So, rope-a-dope, bebop articulation. I don't know, I'm getting old.